Your whole life, you have wanted to be part of your worship team, and you have practiced and you have dedicated yourself to just becoming the best version of that musician that you can be, so that you can be part of your worship team and give the best that you can with God. But this one little thing has been keeping you back all these years. The fear of being able to play with a click track day in and day out just absolutely terrifies you, and you think that you can't do it because you've never done it before and you don't know where to even start practicing with a click track. So today I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to play with a click track and 2 things that you need to do to nail your audition. Okay, the first thing that you need to do in order to play with a click track is understand that the click track is nothing more and nothing less than a metronome that is being played along with the music. It's not that complicated to understand, and it's honestly not that complicated to play along with. The problem is that when we find that constant beating sound in our ears, we kind of get terrified because we think that we have to play along with it and be super accurate with it at all times. And even though that is true to a certain extent, that doesn't mean that that always has to happen. So my first tip for you is you don't play on the click track, you play along with the click track. You need to start treating the click track as a musical element instead of just a guide, because that's what it is. It's part of the musical element within the song. So I'm going to give you some musical examples on how to play along with the click track instead of playing on the click track. Now, not only does this help you play better, it also helps the music feel better, because then you don't feel constricted and it doesn't feel square when you're playing. Because the goal of playing for worship music is for you to play as naturally and as comfortable as possible to express your worship through the instrument. Tip number 2 on how to play with a click track: you have to practice with a metronome. There's just no other way around it. You have to practice with a metronome, and the best thing to do is to grab a metronome and play at different tempos and increment those tempos as you go along. For example, let's say that you have a song that you want to practice and it's at 80 BPM. Well, guess what? You're going to practice that song at 80 BPM, but then you're going to take a metronome and then you're going to play at 90 BPM, and then 100 BPM, and then at 110 BPM, and then 120, and so on until you get comfortable playing within all of those tempos. And usually that's the range where worship music is anywhere between 70, 75 to maybe like 130, 140 BPM. And you can practice that with different time signatures too, like in 4/4, 3/4, or 6/8. It's the same thing, it's just a matter of being able to play with all of those different tempos as you go. So here's some examples on how to do that easily and effectively during your practice. Tip number 3. If you want to play better with the metronome and you want to feel like you're conquering the metronome, you have to practice internalizing the click track and or the metronome. And the way to do this is by playing along with the metronome and then cutting it off and seeing if you can keep playing along with the metronome. Now, I know this sounds super complicated, but internalizing the metronome is nothing else and nothing more than training your internal rhythm to keep the tempo going and keep the click going inside of your head and inside of yourself, so that way you never miss a beat, literally. So there's an app that I like to use. It's called the Click app. It's by Benny Greb. And the way that this app works is it allows you to create different measures of you playing with the metronome and then not playing with the metronome on different tempos and different time signatures. So what I like to do is do 1 bar of the click, 1 bar off of the click, and then I try to land back on the 1 and keeping them maintaining that tempo at all times. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of dedication to do that, but once you get it down, it is so worth it, because one of the main things that I can teach you today is that when you're playing in a church setting, the click track will fail on you. It will give out because it's technology, and technology is not perfect, and at some point or another it will fail. And having to internalize the metronome will help you in the long run, because whenever everybody is freaking out that everything is off, you as the drummer will be able to hold it down and hold down that song for as long as you can until that click track comes back, or it doesn't come back. Tip number 4 is to practice the song with a metronome. Now I know it's really hard because if you don't know how to use Logic or you don't know how to like create the tracks in itself, it takes a really long time to learn how to do that and how to practice with that. But there's an easy way to do this, is by downloading the Moises app. I use the Moises app. So if you don't know what the Moises app is, it's an AI tool that lets you create tracks, take away tracks, and add metronomes and tempo change, even key changes. It just lets you do everything. And what you do is you download the song legally, don't do it illegally, download the song legally, upload it into the app, and then you can take out the metronome or add a metronome and just clap along with it. And that way you have a never-ending tool that'll help you internalize all of those tempos and all of those metronomes and all of those clicks into the song that you need to work on. So tip number 5 that I can give you on how to play with a click track or a metronome is to figure out what the BPM is without you having to listen to the click track. And that is a really tricky thing, because that means that you really have to internalize all of these tempos and all of these clicks basically to perfection. So I like to go, let's do 90. Where would 90 BPM be at? 2, 3, 4. And then I go into the metronome and I check it out. So let's see. I was pretty close or pretty spot on that. So that is one of the things that I like to do to really internalize the metronome and just learn how to play on different clicks and different metronomes, is literally that. Just try to imagine what it sounds like in your head and then replicate it. All right, and these are the 2 tips that I can give you on how to nail your audition for your church band. Number 1, obviously, is to be prepared. And not only be prepared, be over prepared. Just learn the music that they send you, just practice as much as you can, learn what the original track does, and then add your own flair. Because the reality is, this is worship music. This isn't a studio, this isn't, you know, a live concert with a specific artist. This is you at your church, and you want to be able to showcase that you can play the track, play like the original drummer does it, but also being you and being able to contribute to the worship band. Because if we wanted to listen to the original drummer on the track, we would just play the track. And the second tip that I can give you before you go to your audition and how to nail your audition is to pray. I know it sounds super cliche, but the reality is, this is a worship band, this is church, and if you're prayed up, you will be able to do all things through Christ. And that means being able to give your best at all times, being connected, because once you pray and once you dedicate and you say, you know what, I'm giving this to you no matter what the outcome is, this is for your glory, there's a connectivity happening there. There's some download going on there from the Holy Spirit and from God Himself. And you'll be able to perform at your most highest capacity, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's you giving an offering to God. So by giving it beforehand, before you get up on that stage, you're already connecting with the Father. So pray before every audition. Actually, pray in general about everything. Just pray over the smallest things that you can and give those to God. But before a worship audition, please pray. Trust me, I have never failed an audition, and I have never been rejected from any band or any audition that I've ever done, because I pray before all of that. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you struggle with when you're playing with a click track. Let me know what you want to do to improve, and what are your tips and tricks on how to improve with a click track. And that is it for today's video. Love you all. Peace.